We invite Professor Kotler, Professor Dershowitz to present the Never Again resolution for our receipt and adoption, and then we will receive the remarks from Ambassador Eisenstadt.
It's been a long and very productive day, and I'm going to keep my remarks very short. I just want to have a personal thank you. I want to thank everybody who put this together, a remarkable group of people, but I want to express a special thanks to my dear friend Erwin Kotler. The highest compliment I'm ever paid is when people call Erwin Kotler the Canadian Alan Dershowitz, who call me the American Erwin Kotler. We were joined at the hip at birth. We've known each other since 1965, and we've worked together on everything. The work he does is just remarkable. He's going to read to you the proclamation because he wrote the proclamation. I kibitzed a little, wrote a few little notes on the side, but it was really his work that put together this conference, his work that put together this very important declaration, and we hope the declaration will not only be adopted here, but will serve as a model to be adopted all over the world by legislators, by universities, by other institutions that can turn words into action. Erwin.
Thank you, Alan. You've made, from the inception of this International Legal Symposium this morning to its conclusion now, an enormously important and effective intellectual, juridical, and policy contribution, and we are all in your debt today, as we are always in your debt every day, for standing up for justice and against injustice. I want to say to Justice Abello, who may have had, oh, there, okay, in her usual modest demeanor there. I just want to say what I've said elsewhere, that the best thing I had the privilege to do as Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada was to recommend her appointment to the Supreme Court of Canada, which was unanimously affirmed by the Government of Canada, and I would say by the Parliament and people of Canada. So thank you, Rosie. It was a truly marvelous address that deserves to be read and reread, studied, internalized, and acted upon. What I'd like to do now, because of constraints of time, is simply just to read excerpts from the declaration. Effectively, this Never Again declaration is a summary, almost a codification of what has been discussed and represented at this International Legal Symposium. It reads as follows: the Never Again Declaration. We parliamentarians, political leaders, and representatives of civil society from around the world, recognizing that genocide is the most insidious and destructive threat known to humankind, the ultimate crime against humanity, a horrific and unspeakable act whereby state-sanctioned incitement transforms hatred into catastrophe. Recognizing that on December 9th, 1948, the world came together to draft the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, known otherwise as the Genocide Convention, having now the force of customary international law. Recognizing that while the 20th century was a century of the Genocide Convention and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted on December 10th, 1948, it was also the century of multiple preventable genocides and mass atrocities. Recognizing that inaction and indifference can lead to mass atrocity and genocide. Recognizing that the dangers of genocide and mass atrocity shall never cease unless the lessons of genocides past are heeded and acted upon. We hereby affirm. I'm not going to read the text of each of the affirmations. There are some 12 affirmations. I'm going to read just one line, the declaration with respect to each affirmation. Number 1, le devoir de mémoire, the imperative of remembrance. 2, the danger of state-sanctioned incitement to hate and genocide, the responsibility to prevent. 3, the danger of anti-Semitism, the responsibility to combat. 4, the danger of Holocaust denial, the responsibility to repudiate false witness. 5, the perils of indifference and inaction in the face of mass atrocity and genocide, the responsibility to protect. 6, the danger of impunity, the responsibility to bring war criminals to justice. 7, the danger of la trahison des clercs, the betrayal of the elites, the responsibility to speak truth to power. 8, the threat of assaults on the vulnerable and powerless. 9, the need to prevent targeted violence against women. 10, the need to prevent mass atrocities against children. 11, the responsibility to pay tribute to the rescuers. 12, the imperative to respect the legacy of Holocaust survivors. And it concludes as follows. We remember and pledge. Never again will we be indifferent to incitement and hate. Never again will we be silent in the face of evil. Never again will we indulge racism and anti-Semitism. Never again will we ignore the plight of the vulnerable. And never again will we be indifferent in the face of mass atrocity and impunity. We will speak up and act against racism, against hate, against anti-Semitism, against mass atrocity, against injustice, and against the crime of crimes whose name we should even shudder to mention: genocide. Declared, and I trust adopted, at the International Legal Symposium here at Jagiellonian University in Poland on the double entendre of Nuremberg, the Nuremberg of hate and the Nuremberg of justice, May 4th, 2016. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, it's unanimously adopted. We want to express personal thanks to Dr. Shmuel Rosenman, Dr. David Macklis, to Ellie Rubenstein, as well as to all of those from the March of the Living, those from Jagiellonian University, and those from the Raoul Center for Human Rights.